Hi guys and welcome back. In this section we're going to have a starter code, which is the code from the last section, the web scraping code. Let's go over it real quick, just in case you haven't seen it in a while. We've got the entry point to our code, app.py, and that makes a request to quotes.toscrape.com, which is just a quotes website that contains some quotes by famous people, and gives us the HTML content of the page. That HTML content is passed on to our quotes page class. What that does is it creates a beautiful soup object which will allow us to traverse the HTML that we've received and find things inside the HTML, which is what we do down here in the quotes property. We go into that beautiful soup object and we find elements using the select method matching this selector here. The selector is just any div on the page that has the class quote. If you haven't seen the last section, I would recommend going through that first, just because it contains a bunch of explanations that you will need for this section as well. Now, after finding all the divs with a class of quote, it passes them into a quote parser object that we also made. And this one stores the parent, which is basically the container of the quote, and then has a few properties as well: content, author, and tags. The content property once again gets a locator from the quote locators file in this case, and then finds an element inside this quote with that locator. Same for author and tags. So basically what is going to happen is here we're going to get a bunch of quote parsers, one for each div, and then each of these objects we can use to get the content, author, and tags of that quote. Then at the end we print out the page quotes. So you can actually run this just by right-clicking and running app.py, and it's going to launch and it's going to give us all these quotes that we've got. So that has actually launched the page, well, not launched the page, but it's gone to the page and got the HTML content using the requests module. And once we've had the HTML content, it's returned it to us and we've performed our searches. There is a problem, of course, which is that if we use JavaScript, then this won't work. Or if we want to navigate to any other page that uses JavaScript, this won't work. I'll show you an example. Here I've launched another quotes.toscrape.com instance, but this one is /search.aspx. This is a slightly different page that uses JavaScript, so we can use this to try out our JavaScript scraping. Notice that if we were to use the requests module to get the HTML content of this page, we would get what the inspector gives us at this point in time. So we've got a couple of drop downs and a search button that is now partially hidden. I will move that a bit. There you go, and a search button down there. Now that has a problem because the author drop down that you can see here has a bunch of authors inside it. You can see them if you click on it, and you can see it in the HTML. But the tag drop down does not have any elements. It is only when you select an author that the tags change for tags that are available for this author. So basically you're going to be able to only select tags that match that author or things that the author said. Because that change happens after the page has loaded, it means that our requests code cannot deal with something like this for two reasons. The first one is that the content of the page is changing using JavaScript. That is the only way to change page content. And when we load a page using requests, we cannot execute JavaScript. So that is a problem. The second problem is we cannot use the requests module to interact with a drop-down inside a page. The requests module allows us to get the HTML content, so we would be able to see there is a drop-down, but we won't be able to click on it and make a change. So the requests code is not going to allow us to use this page. Then if you click the search button, a further JavaScript change happens that shows you a quote matching the results. What we have to do is we have to actually launch the Chrome browser, navigate to this page, and modify these dropdowns ourselves, then click the search button, and finally extract the result. So that's what we're going to be doing in this section, as I mentioned earlier on. We've seen the code as it is now, and that code as it is now is just for this page here, which doesn't use JavaScript. For our new page, we're going to be doing everything in this section. So I'll see you in the next video.